Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome into a very special little video here. It's not often that I sit down and do a video on a fixed blade knife. And a lot of times it's because fixed blades are much more simplistic and there are fewer things to talk about. You know, we're not talking about locks, and we're not talking about pivots and the way the action works and this and that. But there are some wonderful details in so many great fixed blades that are out there that you're going to start seeing more from me. I do have now a fairly decent sized collection of fixed blades, from small little neck knives all the way up to larger knives like this and even larger than this. And now that I'm making knives myself, obviously I'm starting with fixed blades, not with folders, because you got to learn to walk before you can run. And I've really grown to appreciate the work that goes into even what seems to be a simplistic style of fixed blade. Now, what I'm showing you here is anything but simplistic. This thing is a kick to the fucking head is what it is. What we're looking at here is the Blackscale Forge Sentinel. Blackscale Forge is Jordan Gutierrez. And here is a guy that is incredibly talented, as you can see just from a quick look at this overall knife. It's just, I'll be honest with you, I just received this in the mail yesterday, and I immediately put it to the top of the queue for me to get videos done, because I'm so excited by it, because I'm so blown away by the workmanship on this knife. I want to start by telling you that this is not a guy that's working in a full-on machinist shop. This is a guy basically working out of his backyard under his gazebo with mainly just hand tools, and we'll discuss that a little bit more in the rest of the video. This is an incredible amount of skill that he's displaying, and I can only imagine if he were sitting in a fully tooled shop with access to anything he could ever want, how insane the knives would be. Let's start off talking about the specs. You're looking at a 5-inch modified Bowie style blade. This is a false edge up here. It is not a true sharp edge. It's not a true Bowie. It's also got a very steep recurve in it. The blade is made of his own San Mai, 410 stainless and 52-100 core. Oh yeah, oh yeah, look at that San Mai. Look at how evil this fucking knife looks. Look at that blacked out ricasso. Look at the file work that he's put in there just to make it look a little bit more mean. Look at that beautiful sandwich of steels. He has done a simply outstanding job. This is about as mean looking as I could have ever hoped for. It really, really came out amazingly well. The handle material is stabilized buggy maple burl set into black and white resin. It's actually made by a gentleman named Travis Zumwalt on Instagram, and I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. It could be Zumwalt or Zumwalt, but I'll put a link down in the description where you can find him on Instagram. And I actually came across this material myself. I was following him and I saw this particular material come up for sale, and I bought a set of scales to make my own knives with. Then I kind of realized, well, I don't make knives large enough to be able to display all of the work on this, so I've kind of put that to the side. And then as Jordan and I were talking about this build and he showed me this incredible blade, I went, I think I've got the perfect scale material to complement the aggressive nature of that San Mai. So I said, what would you think about working with this? Would it be okay if I ordered some to send to you? He's like, absolutely, I'm always up for a new challenge. I don't know that he's ever worked with this much resin. That really works a lot differently than any other material, especially if you're looking at wood. So you're cutting and you're grinding and contouring a much, much harder material here. then you've got one here that can literally melt away to liquid if you're doing it too hard and too fast. So very tricky, and yet you see that he has contoured it beautifully. He's done an absolutely fantastic job. Worked very well in and out of the different materials. And so I ordered it from Travis, and Travis is a really great guy. I've ordered a few things from him now. So if you're looking for unique handle materials, definitely hit him up. And I think that overall, this complemented the knife perfectly. It's a really nice, comfortable grip. It's set up for a little bit of a larger hand than mine. It's not like I was standing there and he could measure my hand, so it's a little bit large for my hand. But all the different workings of it, from the palm swells to the recesses, are very, very nicely done. As you see, there are no flaws in the execution of that handle. Everything is even, everything is perfect. There's no sharp edge, there's no ledges, everything was sanded perfectly smooth. Blended very, very well. Up into the spacer, into the guard. The guard is also beautifully done. Having a hard time to get my camera focused there. There we go. And into the blade itself. It's nicely sharpened, by the way. It's a good, solid, sharp knife. I love the recurve. I'm a big fan of recurves. It's overall just a really beautiful but aggressively designed knife. Everything about this thing is just the definition of badass. And there are not many fixed blades that I've come across for my own personal collection that have really excited me in this way. And that's why I'm kind of rushing this one out and getting it out here on my channel for you to see. Let's break down a little bit of what Jordan's all about. I asked him to kind of give me more of a background on who he is and the kind of maker that he is, because he is someone that's newer to me as well. And I want to make sure I got his story out there so people understood what he's doing. He's basically just started making knives just under 2 years ago. So this is, you know, he's still very, very fresh at this. And when you look at the craftsmanship all the way around, that's extremely impressive. When he started, he had a crappy old charcoal forge made out of bricks, old barbecue pit, and an air mattress pump. He would use pliers in the back of a hatchet to forge out a railroad spike. And he's obviously evolved tremendously since those days. As I mentioned, he works out of his backyard, and he's had a chance to learn from Peter Kohler, who's his mentor. Who's a very, very good friend of his and also a very accomplished bladesmith as well. And I got to tell you from personal experience, you know, having a good mentor will very, very much change, or at least set the likelihood, set the path of where you're going to go in your knife making future. Because it's really easy to get discouraged. And there are a lot of, you know, bumps in the road. And there are things, little roadblocks that you'll come up to and go, shit, I don't know how to get past this mistake or how to achieve this certain thing that I want to do. And if you go back 30 years and you know you talk to another knife maker, hey, I saw that you did this, how did you do it? Hey, figure it out your own damn self. That was the response that you got. Nowadays, knife makers really realize that this is truly, especially when it comes to forging, it really is truly a dying art. And they want to share their knowledge with other people and help to elevate them and the level of work that they can do. Because listen, if you die with your secrets, then they die forever. They don't live on, and future generations can't benefit from it. So it's nice to see people giving out their information, sharing their knowledge like Peter Kohler is doing with Jordan. Now he's got a forge, now he's got an anvil, and he can do things a little bit more properly. He basically forged this steel. He forged the pattern he wanted into the layers of the San Mai. What he was telling me was, he says, forging San Mai is a little more complicated than working with just standard steel. The reason for that is because he says you need to stay in a specific temperature range, and literally count your hits on each side to make sure that the core steel stays centered. Now, this is I didn't know because I don't forge. I don't know anything about forging aside from, what you may see in videos or on TV. Then he got the bevels ground, he treated the blade, and then he fit the guard. He says basically he just drills holes in the guard, and then he uses files to open up the slot to slide the tang through the guard. And then normally he would solder the guard, but he couldn't do that on mine because he didn't want to wreck what he had done here in the ricasso. So he's going to get the forging marks that are in there. So you've got that tough, raw look in the ricasso. And for me, that's part of what speaks to me. I love hand-forged blades. There's something about it. Each and every one has its own character. If Jordan makes 10 exact knives in the Sentinel and changes nothing, even if somehow, and it can't happen, but if somehow the San Mai came out clad the exact same way, if after heat treat it came out looking the exact same way, again, it can't happen, but, let's just say all things being equal. It's those individual little hammer marks and tool marks that are in that blade that identify yours as being special, as being a one-off. That's pretty damn cool. And I don't get a chance to ever talk about that because almost everything I have, except for obviously my Damascus and San Mai blades in my folders, almost everything, the makers are doing stock removal. Forging your own steel is a whole other level. And it really is hard-ass work. Then you get a guy like Jordan who consistently wants to raise the bar and push the limits of what he can do. Every knife he makes will be better than the last. Every knife he makes is a learning experience and allows him to expand his horizons to the next knife that he makes. So he tells me right now that this is the best knife that he's ever made. But you know what's going to happen? In a month, mine will no longer be the best knife he ever made. The knife he made 2 knives after it will be, and then 5 knives after it, then 10 knives after it. And he will continue to progress and continue to get better. And one of the greatest joys that I have coming out here on my channel is to bring out makers to you, that excite me, that bring out wonderfully artistic representations of bladesmithing that you can actually order from. That's the best, and I don't get the chance to do that very often. You can contact Jordan through Facebook or through Instagram and say, hey, I want that knife, or I want one of your other models, or I want to do something completely custom, one-off, and different. And he'll say, okay. And he's not going to tell you it's 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years wait, like most of the makers that I highlight on my channel. He's going to say, I'm going to get right on it. I got a few knives ahead of you, but I don't know, how about a couple of weeks, or how about a month? That's it. And his prices are not outlandish. He's doing this for the pride in the work and the love of bladesmithing. He's not doing it to get rich. And any knife maker will tell you, you're not going to get into knife making to get rich. God, that is fucking breathtaking. I don't care what angle you view this knife from. It's just mind-blowing. And I could not be happier. I could not be prouder of any fixed blade in my collection. This thing is magnificent. I have a lot of fixed blades that I really enjoy, and I enjoy each of them for different reasons. This one is just based on pure badassery. And I never thought I could go on for 15 minutes about a fixed blade knife, but when you've got so much here, and a maker with so much potential, it's actually really very easy. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do as far as carrying it, what position I want to carry it in to have a custom leather sheath made for it. It might be a bit of a challenge. That is a big ass handle to try and hide. So we'll have to see about that. So here it is. Sticks out the back of the hand a little bit. But very, very comfortable. Everything's contoured and rounded without feeling like it's slippery. As if I'm cutting something, I want to be able to index where my edge is, where my blade is. And this just, it centers. Once I've got my hand on it, it just falls right into place. I look at this and go, I got a lot of fixed blades I'd rather hack shit up with and destroy instead of this one. Because it's just, it's gorgeous, man. And I might have a hard time being really abusive with it. I'm still going to cut shit with it. But I don't think you're going to see me out there doing this. Maybe. I don't know. You're more likely to see me in public doing this than this with this knife. I'm not really an outdoorsy kind of guy anyway. But there you go, guys. There is a nice full HD look at the Sentinel. I think this is the third one, if I'm not mistaken. This is the third one that he's made. And it's just breathtaking. Fantastic workmanship. Really nice, humble guy to deal with. And I like that. I don't like working with an asshole maker. That's no fun. He had great contact throughout the build, showing me work in progress pictures, letting me know what was going on. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm going to hop on out of here and try to get busy on a couple more videos.